tell a lot of children today, they'll be like, what does Papa do? Papa is always on the phone. What does Mama do? Mama is always on the Zoom call. And that's exactly what you're also imbibing into the child.
So basically a generation of digital addicts creates a generation of digital addicts.
And whatever they see on screens is very colorful. And when they actually have to read the books which are black and white, they don't feel interesting. I'm like surprised to see their screen time is like 7 hours. And what did they do 7 hours?
Krupala Garu and Sushi Garu, it's a pleasure to have you over here. And since the last time I was checking on you, checking on your LinkedIn, I got to know a lot of information about you, about your journey of social entrepreneurship, of being a techie, running so many entities and doing NGO and building communities and all. So I wanted to ask this one thing that I've seen in your posts and got to know from my colleagues that you have this thing of always giving back to the society. If there is 80% of something you're doing for yourself, for an entity you're working for, at 20%, 30% of your energy, of your time goes back into giving back to people, giving back to the roots of the place or giving back to the world. So I wanted to know where does this thing of empathy, empathy started in your journey, like early on in your journey?
Okay, so thanks for the introduction. I feel so happy when we give back to the society. I come from a small town called Nizamabad, where my complete education, till plus 2 I was studying there, and then I got to BITS Goa, where I have done my master's in economics and bachelor's in computer science. So the moment I joined the college also, we were very much interested to start something for the society, and we were the first batch in the campus around 2004. And we had 100 to 150 workers, construction workers staying just next to the campus. So we just spoke to them and said that, why don't you send your kids to school? They said it's not affordable for us. So what we have done is our batchmates grouped around 50 to 60 people, and we started a small literacy mission called as Abhigyan. And it's every part of my journey, whether I'm with BITS or with Oracle or when I really start something, I want an impact-based work that can actually stay back and solve some bigger problem.
Amazing, really amazing. So is this where you met your co-founder also, like Sushi Garu?
Yeah, Sushi is my junior and my buddy at all my thought process. So I just discuss whatever comes to my mind, and we just debate, we just discuss, and at one point we come to a conclusion that let us go for it.
Amazing, really amazing. So tell me a little bit about how the BITS Pilani's entrepreneurship ecosystem is like, and what values it has inherited in you early on in your journey.
See, that is a very important part of my life. I call it a second home. Whenever I just listen to the word Goa, it just feels at my mom's place kind of. That 4 years had helped me to understand various ecosystems, various cultures, various thought process, meeting so many people at one place, and it was the entire ecosystem and the curriculum was very open. That we were given all the freedom to do whatever we want. If I really want to start a literacy mission, I was given a chance to go for it. And if I really want to perceive something, I was given a platform to study. So that particular education system itself has given me a thought process of why not entrepreneurship rather than being an employee for someone.
Okay. So back in your time, was there this 1 year off thing where the BITS Pilani students were allowed to take 1 year off from the academic curriculum if they're doing startups?
Not really, because it's almost 20 years back.
Okay.
Back then, that's recently started a decade back, but when we were studying in the Pilani campus, it was not there.
Okay. So where was this first journey of entrepreneurship take you from BITS Pilani to where?
I didn't have the privilege to actually start entrepreneurship just after the campus, because I had to give back to my family. So then I thought that why don't I be with the corporate and learn something, and also financially stabilize myself before I experiment with my own money. So I was working with Oracle for 8 to 9 years and then jumped into entrepreneurship. So right now, I'm working with 2 to 3 startups, and all these are also impact based and social cause based.
Okay, so was there a changing point, you choose to quit from Oracle and start something new?
Yes, the point was the moment the moment it felt whatever problem which I am solving at at office, it was doesn't make much impact kind of thing. It was like good to do, but it had a greater impact which I really want to do. In the campus also, in Oracle campus, we had this Global Volunteers Day. So I was heading a couple of teams and going to all the activities. So always my inclination was towards to go out and do something for the society rather than sit at the cubicle or at the desk here.
So, ma'am, again going back to the point. So you decided you wanted to make something for yourself, something for the world out there, have a bigger impact out there. So, was there like a career break after Oracle, or was it something clingy, like something you found out for yourself? Like, what was the path transition from and to?
Okay, so I was doing the entrepreneurship, events or thought process during my work at Oracle itself. So we were in West Maridpalli. So I was just starting a thought process called as extra innings. So this particular thought process has come from Jagriti Yatra. I've been Jagriti Yatri in 2011, where the entire journey of 14 days given me more more insights into entrepreneurship. And that when I thought that at least after a year of me coming back, I have to quit a job and full time enter into entrepreneurship. So then back then in 2011, I was just walking in Maridpalli in a park, and I've seen that 30 to 40 elderly people just sitting and discussing their journeys. And I've seen a lot of people where IAS, ex-IAS, and civil servants, and into defense, into army, into railways and all. And I was just standing there. So I just thought that let me go and just say hi to everybody. I went into the center of the circle and said, hi, I'm inspired by your thoughts. And recently in my Jagriti Yatra, I've learned something called as occupation therapy, where you have to keep yourself positively engaged to help yourself give back to your health. So they were not very impressed, what is she actually talking about. So I said that you have a lot of experience, why don't you pass this experience to the next generation. So I met a couple of schools around Maridpalli and said that you get an opportunity of going back to school and spending 1 hour and sharing your journeys. So that's where I've done this for a couple of months, and we actually felt that this had a greater impact in their health. And a small survey also says that 12% of the health increases when an elderly person engages in the positive thoughts and positive activities.
Okay. Interesting. So what is basically how, I mean, I'm sorry. So back at Oracle, what were the standards of the team communication, and how was this occupation therapy relevant to your work and your teams back there? Like, was there anything that you would like to go back at Oracle and you wish after quitting the company and after going through these environments, was there anything you want to implement something back at your company?
Yes, I would love to, because previously when I was doing this extra innings, I felt that it was only needed for elderly people. But now I feel that it should be part of every human being. When you do something which you really like, there's a lot of energy that flows in, and you get to understand yourself more. You get to feel good. And that feel good factor comes only when you plan to do whatever you want to do, and dream of it. Actually, you call it, when you dream of it and actually you put your efforts and action into it.
Interesting. So how does this relate to entrepreneurship and your journey?
Okay. See, I don't think that entrepreneurship is different, and working for something is different. You just pick a problem statement and go ahead, and that's entrepreneurship.
Wow, that is like the most shortest version of entrepreneurship I've heard. Interesting. So where have you met Sushi Garu?
She's my immediate junior, and we have been in the campus for 3 years. So yeah, it's almost 2 decades love and affair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were on the Yatra, and you must have met a very interesting couple of folks in social entrepreneurship, in small scale business, and trying a lot of things to change the world really. Did you ever feel like when listening an idea, listening what they're doing, like being a part of their journey, like working with them on the cause? Is there any such idea, such person you met, or the feeling?
Wherever we've been during the yatra, so the first time when I met Narayan Murthy in the Infosys campus in Bangalore during our yatra, it was like so overwhelming that I could meet him, see him so close, and understand this little journey. When we see from very far, you feel that they're really something like it is very difficult to meet and talk to them. But the moment you actually meet them in person, they're as normal as you are. And we even met Fanindra Sama is my BITS Pilani senior, who's the founder of Redbus. So we met many other folks in the journey of yatra, and also all my yatris are were civil servant aspirants, and two of my bogey mates have cracked civils and they are into IAS right now. So it was like learning for each other. Yeah.
Nice, interesting. So in your posts, I've seen that you're interacting with a lot of students. Like there was a special empathetic place in your heart for students all along your career, all along your journey. Even though there's like the least possible, like you're working for a cybersecurity NGO or you're working for the government or something like that. You don't see a connection where it goes back to students, but I see there's somehow you're trying to add morals to the younger generation, the upcoming generation, and trying to influence that. Like I would like to know where this thing started and how does this connect to you being a mother and more.
Okay, so teaching is always my passion. So way back when I was in Islamabad, so I had an opportunity to take classes for my younger students at the age of 15. So when I was in my 10th grade, I had an opportunity to take classes still up to my 10th grade, 9th grade. So I'm a teacher within. So that's where I always feel that I'm connected to students. So whenever there is an event which is happening in a college, or whenever I get to meet students, I just ask them that how is it actually going. So I get to learn more from the students rather than the learned people. So that's where in my entire journey I might have interacted, met, talked, spoke, connected for more than 10,000 students.
Oh.
Yeah.
And were any of the students, like attached to you on like what you're teaching and asked like why is this
absolutely. There was a girl from Munich. She was doing entrepreneurship, and she suddenly got to know that I am into entrepreneurship, and she randomly bumped and called me saying that you are in Prague and I really want to understand something about entrepreneurship, and I am writing a paper. So I gave a small example for her, saying that pick up something from the online which is less than €1, which you think that you can sell. And I want you to sell it for 50 people, not from your family and friends, and come back to me and explain me what entrepreneurship is. And she's done it, and after that she's like, I didn't know that it is somebody teaching me so practically this particular problem statement. And every Guru Purnami and Teachers Day, she just wishes me. It was just a 2 hours conversation which I had with her, and that's how I connect with students.
Very interesting. So what do you think our current system of education, our schools and colleges lack in terms of teaching?
In terms of teaching, is like I feel that there's a lot of practical approach which people are thinking that they are incorporating into it, but there is a lot of communication gap between a teacher and a student which I see these days. They're not that we don't have that the kids don't have that friendly environment to actually go back to a teacher and communicate as a friend or a mother, or which was there 2 decades back. When we were in our schools, it was like back then we were like very much happy and open to talk whatever doubt we have and how we can actually put this particular problem statement in front of a teacher. We didn't hesitate much, but there is a lot of hesitation which is coming from the students, and I always request all the students that please don't hesitate when you actually have a doubt, because unless you ask, your learning journey will be like incomplete.
If I may just add to that, I also feel that that learning is about connecting the dots. Somehow we still approach education and learning in a way that it's like subjects and streams and these fixed silos in which people are thinking, and they're not understanding that how what you're learning in one subject can also be applied to the other. And that's where the real learning comes from. So somewhere it's about pursuing marks and ranks and achievements, and that basic curiosity. And what happens if I mix these two things, or what happens if I learn something over there, if I apply it over here. So these sort of like thought process, or the sort of freedom is not there, despite like more options being there. I think this sort of curiosity and the sort of energy to be curious, I think that is still lacking with our education system.
So what do you think? Whose fault it is? And whose job it is to correct that?
See, we cannot tell that it's a fault of an education system or the environment, school or the parents. I always say that journey of a student is a triangle journey where the school, parents and the environment the student is growing up. These three actually form the energy for the students to grow in a learning ecosystem. So there's no single point that I can say that this should be changed. So if everybody can collectively take a call and discuss and try to work on this, things will be very much easier. To add to Sushi's point, I feel that some students saying that I feel I have a fear of math, I have a fear of physics, but there's a very fine thin line between math and physics. They're like totally interlinked. Unless you understand math, you cannot actually enjoy doing physics, or unless you appreciate the nature's laws, you cannot appreciate math.
Interesting, very interesting. But going back to my school times, everything was kept strictly to syllabus.
Yeah.
Nothing was about practical examples or trying to apply the same formulas in a laboratory level. Most of the laboratory equipment used to just fail, not work, and the maths teacher strictly kept the physics part. He asked this part to your physics teacher, and the physics teacher is like ask this part to your maths teacher. So it just kept her in a loop and without nothing coming out of it really. So it was.
I think that's where we need sort of a paradigm shift to understand that learning happens when play happens. What you're defining actually with hands-on or trying things out, or what is called as experiential learning nowadays, it's all a sort of play. This is something we've always done as a kindergarten. You're playing in the sand, you're playing with blocks. You're also learning things sometimes as rhymes, sometimes as a song, or sometimes in other formats, right? So learning is still happening, but it's in a form of play, and therefore you don't realize actually that there is learning happening per se. And that's exactly what we require in schools today, in like even colleges today for that matter. This new sort of approach towards educational learning.
Yeah, and the founder of Duolingo inspires me in this by gamifying the thought process of learning language. So they see everything as a game. So if it is taught, explained, understood, connected, things can easily those concepts can easily get into the kids' brain.
Absolutely. Even I used to take some lessons on Duolingo to learn a little of French. And even I experienced the gamification and how they used to interact with the student, like through the features of the platform, being a techie. But I still always felt a disconnect, like the ability to share that knowledge with someone else, and co-learning environment was not there. So in today's education, digital learning and online learning is a big part, a big industry. But yet reforms or changes, real reforms, you still fail, like students learning something new, students feeling that something new has come, like I'm enjoying this, that is still absent, like online or offline. Why do you think is that?
Because the approach to the learning itself has become very broader than deeper. If you can't and if you cannot go deeper into the concept, you cannot master it. So you can when you're learning something, you just have you just think that I've touched based everything, but that itself is not enough to put that into actual action. So I say that whenever you pick any particular concept related to technical, non-technical, go deeper into one particular subject and master that one vertical, and then you can go horizontal.
And also to add to that, I also feel like the question is also like, how do you measure that learning has happened today? You're talking about assessments, about ranks, about achievements again. I think we also require like a better metric to say that you have really understood. Maybe you can ask the child to explain the concept to somebody else. Maybe you can also introduce some other skills like communication and all, in order to say that actually the child has learned. Maybe you can give them flexibility to present whatever they have learned in any other fashion, not just like exams or tests or multiple choice questions. So I think that sort of understanding also needs to come from the ecosystem like Krupala talked about. So it's the teachers, the parents, the entire society which is forming the sort of ecosystem for the child.
Yeah, and if you go back, we say that even when Krishna was born to Devaki, he has to go to
To Mathura.
to Mathura
Yeah.
to actually grow up as a right child. So to grow up a child, we need a village rather than city. That they say it.
Wow. That's an amazing saying. So this brings back to the question of morals and ethics and the environment a child or a young person actually grows up in. Apart from the institute itself, apart from the home itself, what do you think is wrong with the society as of today that spoils or hinders the learning of a person?
I say that we as parents, including me, sometimes we are absent for the kids. Being absent for the kids itself is that we are not being part of their journey of learning. Working 60 to 70 hours a week and also traveling for 20 to 30 hours, we are not actually fully present for them. One of the parents should take a slower role if you have kids and be present for them. So if we are present for them when they actually need and learn along with them, I think that the curiosity, the learning curve will be very steep.
How exactly do you think is possible with the generation, whether a generation where both the parents are, kind of forced to do the 8 to 5 jobs, and everyone is tired once they're back home and driving through traffic in all tier 1 cities?
These days, I myself have put up a calendar reminder in my calendar saying that this is the time I have to sit and learn with them.
Okay.
So we have to do some kind of practices, and recently last week, I felt that I'm like working a lot and not giving much time. I just went into the hall, sat there in a recliner, and my younger one came and said that, "Mom, I want to style your hair." I just sat for her, and she was styling for me for 1 hour. That's itself, that was like so much energy for her that she was just calling all her friends saying that, "See, I have styled my mom today." Yeah.
I think it is definitely, I think it's difficult for parents to be juggling everything. I do empathize with and sympathize with the parents in that regard. But I feel maybe an unpopular opinion, but I also feel that it's important that we as parents realize that we are not outsourcing learning or education to only a school. Because for a child who is growing up, learning or education is not limited to the four walls of the school or to the playground or to specific activities that they are doing after school. I mean, it's an entire ecosystem where we do play a very important role. As a child grows, they are looking up to their parents, how they behave, what they are doing. And if you tell a lot of children today, they'll be like, what does Papa do? Papa is always on the phone. What does Mama do? Mama is always on the Zoom call. And that's exactly what you're also imbibing into the child, whether we realize or not.
They imitate us a lot.
A lot. And also, like, we being closer to our screens all the time, we being always hooked up online, or maybe we are watching a reel all the time. And then suddenly when the child grows up into a teenager, and suddenly we go into all this frenzy that, oh, why is my child spending so much time online, or why are they watching these videos? I mean, this is something actually happening around us. And like Krupala has talked about, we are not present in the moment, and because we're not able to be present in the moment, we're not realizing these small changes which are happening around us.
Okay.
And even if we theoretically discuss this, I don't think we're realizing the impact until like things actually happen, and then we are like, oh, now what do we do about this? So I do agree, probably like what we can do as parents is like just be present in the moment, observe as the flower is blossoming.
So basically, a generation of digital addicts creates a generation of digital addicts. So how do you cope up with this? Basically, no phones after work, or like how do you schedule your calendar around your kids and at your home?
Okay, so I have a very ad hoc schedules, because being an entrepreneur, we never know when we have to bump into meetings, or when we have outside assignments to talk to, networking, funding events, startup events, and all. So I make sure that I have a 9-minute policy which I as a mother follow. Like the moment the kid wakes up, I give my 3 entire minutes dedicatedly waking up, cuddling them, giving that love and affection, that they feel that there is somebody for them. And whatever important meeting I am in, the moment they come back from school, they will call me up and they will discuss whatever they have done in the school, or whatever they have experienced in the school. That 3 minutes I give it to them, and before going to bed. So I make sure that this 9 minutes I am with them completely.
Wow, 9 minute rule,
Wow.
really, really amazing.
Fantastic.
So what do you think us as not just adults but people who influence other people that probably run schools, colleges, institutes, or control certain organizations that basically affect children, people, maybe younger, even kindergarten children at some point, should enforce? Like, what kind of culture should we promote among the bigger people, the people who control these entities, like universities, principal, teachers? Like, what is wrong, that is fundamentally wrong, that has not changed in like the last 20-25 years?
See, with the generation, the learning pedagogy has changed, but the teaching pedagogy is still yet to be par with the learning pedagogy. If I have to put it in different terms, the curriculums are changing, but the teaching patterns, or thought process, or the style is not upgraded to the interest of the kid. So
Okay.
a mobile, if you see, why are they actually addicted? Because there's a lot of gamification which happens, and a lot of interest that come into the kids thought process. And there's like mutual, if I have to say, these days, the moment first learning starts to the kid through the phone. Out of 10, 9 kids, the first learning as a rhyme or a language or anything, it's actually getting started with the phone, which is very insane. That should not happen. It should happen from a mother or a family member, but it is happening through phone. And whatever they see on screens is very colorful. And the scene changes so fast.
Yes.
The moment you have to walk from here to another place, it takes 5 to 10 seconds. That particular slow motion, or those moments are not actually getting into the brain of the kid. And when they actually have to read the books which are black and white, they don't feel interesting.
Yes.
Because they're so much used to colorful things, and you have to read a black and white book. It doesn't give them that kind of inspiration to learn that topic. So we have to, as an education system, as a teacher, or as an education thought process, we have to change the curriculum according to the interest. And these the recent books which have come after the NEP policy, the 6th grade, my kid is in 6th grade, I was amazed to see the math and science book which are upgraded to the kids style. The font was little bigger, the colorful images were put up, and everything was activity based, every topic, and then the activity, then what have you learned. So I think we are actually in the way, but it will take some more time.
Interesting, very interesting.
And I think it's not just important for curriculum to change. I feel like she rightly said, it's also the teaching pedagogy needs to change. So it's not enough for us to have textbooks, but if you really want activity-based learning, the teachers need to get involved, and even the parents need to get involved. So again, that's a new factor. So if everybody just wants to be comfortable and they want all these changes to happen, it's not going to. So somewhere we giving this a priority and saying that yes, this is a change which is being required, and we see the policy changes, and we are also going to support this change. I think this sort of thought process coming together and saying yes, ये required है, and as we go further, as we are seeing more technological changes, it's important that I bring in this discipline into every day, what I'm doing with my child or with myself for that matter. I think that is also important.
Yeah. To add to her, I would like to say that all the subjects when we were studying, we could easily relate to nature and also experience and discover through nature. But the present day kids are not getting the opportunity to discover through nature, and also appreciate the smallest of the small things. When a flower blossoms or something like that, or when we actually see a rare butterfly with different pattern colors, so the kid gets so much of joy, and he's pride that I've seen something really interesting kind of thing. So unless you connect your kids to nature, you'll not be able to make them the real happy kids, happy souls.
Okay. So how I see it in my generation terms, they call it the real dopamine and the fake dopamine, is that mobile screens and everything else around you is usually pumped with fake dopamine, instant gratification that is in the reach of your hands in 30 seconds. But the old dopamine where our whole generation, our biology is trained on to go into nature, play sports, to climb mountains, to feel that hit of dopamine, that hit of happiness is kind of far at this point. Not because those not are actually out of reach, but because the mobile phones and other digital gadgets are very close and very in reach. So I always felt since my childhood or early at a point when I was learning, when I was not able to differentiate between bad and good, someone told me there are productive uses of a phone and there are non-productive uses of a phone. Someone made it to me very clear that the productive uses will branch out to these things, and these will help you out here and there, and the non-productive will only make the whole thing worse. So what is your view on that?
See, if we see the digital learning has started a decade back, and COVID hit, and this had made a big difference in learning for everybody. So the youngest of the young kids had to learn through screens. So I feel that that particular graph in everybody's life had pushed us into screens, knowingly or unknowingly, and all the new apps which are coming up are making us so much of addictive into whatever we watch, because that each and every video or the audio we see have a meta tag, and that meta tags are read so well. The algorithm runs into the context that if you are interested in food related videos, all the food related videos comes up, and you just want to watch for 5 minutes and you end up watching for 15 minutes.
Yes.
So that happens. And there's something I really want to speak about is in brain's neuroplasticity. Whenever there's a context switch which happens so rapid, which is less than 10 to 15 seconds, like you're switching from a fitness video to a food video, then to entertainment video, your brain is not able to switch so fast. Either you have to train it to that level, or you should be able to understand it to a level, and that particular disturbance in the brain is the hindrance for your focus, for your memory, and for your learning also. Yeah, and to also give some stats, like if you have to take Udemy or other courses which are like digital learning courses, out of 100% paid courses which people take, there are only 2% of the users are actually completing the course.
Okay, and I would like to sincerely question even the 2% people who are completing the course, whether they actually completing the course for the sake of education and learning, or just skipping the course just because they have the gratification of a certificate or an institute is forcing them to complete the course.
Yeah.
So I have this personal experience. I'm from in my university we were supposed to take a Coursera course.
Okay.
And it was a mandatory thing, and no one actually watched the course. Everyone just tried to skip the course, and when Coursera brought in a new feature where you cannot skip the video, you have to watch the video, everyone just left the video open.
Yeah.
And just kept the laptop running, and again back to Instagram, back to Facebook on their phones.
Yeah. So to make learning interesting or to be focused, I feel that everybody should practice some kind of handwriting. That will actually help you to think and learn whenever you are approaching a problem statement. And there's a recent study which says that after the digital world and digital texting which came into everybody's life, we are not even writing 1,000 words a day.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been like sometimes it's been ages that we actually write with your hand. So almost 1500 years back, the art of writing has actually came into as a communication to talk to somebody. But if you don't have the hand writing thought process, your flow and your brain actually gives the right signals that what words should I use, how do I phrase the word, right? You're typing there the thought process and the energies are entirely different where you actually physically write. So I request all the kids to start writing at least 100 words a day.
I think, yeah, I mean, just to add to that, I mean, even we as educators, I mean, we very well understand the fact that learning happens through different styles. So you have visual learners, then you have artistic learners, you have people who learn by listening, people who learn by, the regular way of reading and writing. But somehow all these videos and everything, they're shifting more towards like visual or maybe auditory learners. Maybe you are somebody who's more kinesthetic, means you learn by doing, like a hands-on, like a play, or maybe a discussion. So there are various other methods of learning, but everything right now seems to be competing just with the visual aspect. And needless to say, we are also fighting against the big tech giants with their, intricate algorithms which are getting us hooked onto there. And there are also like these well-known psychologists who are on the team who are basically making these algorithms and making these recommendation systems which keep you hooked on. So yes, it's an uphill battle if you would look at it that way. Ki how do I sort of work my way against all of this and understand? But I think it's very important for us to realize that you, me, or like Krupala, we are able to have this discussion because we are full grown adults, right? We understand our choice. And we understand what we are doing with our time. We understand that we are able to change our habits, or we are able to talk about neuroplasticity. But when it's a very small young child, they don't have that ability to choose. They'll just go with what is more attractive. And perhaps there, we as adults, what sort of examples we are setting for them. And if we are able to understand that, okay, ye acha hai and this is not so good, then we also need to, create that ecosystem which sort of helps them out and helps them choose the right thing. Or perhaps, I guess that's where like even just normal dinner table conversations for families becomes important. Or maybe just going out to watch a movie becomes important. I don't see any of those regular activities that we used to do with our parents growing up happen anymore for a lot of us.
Yeah. So I say that we have to constantly or frequently discuss the screen time problems with the kids, like at least alternate days, not weekly ones. So it is like it's kind of a manifestation that every kid should go through, saying that I am mindful when I am using it.
Wow.
Yeah, and also like we have to pledge as parents that during our meals, let us stop the screens.
I mean, nobody teaches this thing because you are at your 8th standard, 9th standard, and you're barely understanding how the world works, and you're slapped with a device that is showing you cool, intuitive colors and everything. Before you know, that's taken from you. Prepare for IIT, prepare for NEET, prepare for JEE. And before that phase of preparation either goes well or goes bad, people are again far from their family. No one, they're on the 4-year course, 5-year course, 3-year course, away from their homes, in hostels, in other campuses and whatever, where no one is ready to, there to teach you morals and principles on what's good, what's bad. And the environment is usually corruptive or tends towards negativity, tends to do all these things. So where does a choke point lie here? Does the choke point lie with the person who's going through this journey, or with the parents who teach these things early on, or is it the society?
The way the technology is moving fast is, for that we are all prey. It's moving in such a fast pace that we are actually, as humans, we have to enjoy talking to people. As humans, we have to enjoy human touch. As humans, we have to be able to relate to emotions, talk about culture, talk about the understanding, learning, sharing, learning. This is all happening through screens now, rather than we speak to humans. So if I had a chance to do that, I will put all these into a club, saying that away from screens in all the schools, on colleges. A small club saying that away from screens, and we just do activities twice in a week, and just be a reminder that we are also doing this. And making sure that I'm again repeating the same word, that being mindful. We cannot completely stop using digital screens, but yet let us be mindful when we're using it.
I think there's no dearth of information out there which tells you the dangers, like you said, or the non-productive ways of using a phone. I think it's a lot to do with our understanding and our discipline towards a lot of these things, and what we realize. See, when somebody that you love is in danger, is an immediate danger, you tend to react. But here the problem is the danger builds up over a period of time, and that's where you're not able to see it. And when there are experts talking about these things, when you are able to see those early signs, I think you need to get yourself up into action. I mean, a lot of this comes from conversations like this, wherein we are becoming aware of it, something to jolt us out of it. Of course, unfortunately, when some untoward incident happens later on, there is also a lot of conversation and discussion. But I also feel that it's important for us as parents, as contributors, also not just parents. I feel like even within the family, when you're seeing younger siblings or younger cousins, I think it's also important for us to, go about with it, put it forward, or we ourselves sort of inculcate these small habits or changes for ourselves. So most of the time, I don't think the question is about who is going to teach us, but as soon as we realize that this is wrong, are we ready to stand up for ourselves and do something about it? So I guess those sort of conversations need to happen in the family, in the society, and it's not just enough to forward a WhatsApp video in the family group saying ki, oh ye danger hai, but the question is what are you going to do about it next?
Yeah.
So I guess the action bias is very much required in
So-
this case. Yeah.
To add to Sushi's like thought process, I feel that three different age groups are like in a very like danger zone. The age group like below 4 years are in a very difficult danger, very big danger zone, because they're like very young. They're like a lot of what do you say, their cognitive skills, their motor skills, everything is at stake. I've seen kids talking the language of Cocomelon. Like I've seen kids talking the language of Blippi. I feel so bad that where did this actually pick up the accent from? From the screens, that they are using it so heavily that they're using that particular language, actions, thought process, and these days we get to hear a lot about digital ADHD, virtual autism. So all these are not known to tier 2, tier 3 parents, and I feel so bad that they don't even have the resources that what parental controls have to use, how do I reduce screen time, how do I actually know that this is because of the screens. So through this I really want to do some campaign or something for tier 2, tier 3 parents, and help them understand that if you have these signs in your kid, please stop screens and come down and talk to any of the child psychologist, and discuss with them at the early, rather than you take it for a long and when you cannot actually repair. So that is one age group. And the second age group is like, as you mentioned, after intermediate, you are into full books, and once you go into college, you feel that you got the longest wings to fly. And you don't have anybody to actually monitor. You struggle between two different horizons, like being alone, loneliness kills you, and the other one is like you are like you have the entire time in the world to binge browse, and watch whatever you want. So that particular age group is at very much stake, because that 4 years decides your career. You just spoil the entire 3 years, and last semester you feel that अरे मैंने कुछ नहीं किया है. So how should I cope up? Do I get a job? Will I be able to stand on my feet? And there I see a lot of kids going into problems and committing suicide, and I feel really bad. So that's the second age group. And third age group is like elderly people, 60 plus. I've like surprised to see their digital well-being. I just went to their phone and settings and saw that the screen time is like 7 hours. And what did they do 7 hours? YouTube, WhatsApp, only 2. Either they speak to somebody or they are watching something, and they say that this is real. I didn't know this is not real. This is like they have edited the video. There will be we can see a goddess, and she's like opening the eyes, talking to people, and they really feel that yes, it is happening. No, it is like through AI we are like editing it, and people are like they are not able to understand what is real, and what is like real. Yeah.
Yes, I feel people should have there should be things where people can declutter themselves from the digital world. Like some cafes have this thing where if you put all the phones in a box, they give you 10-20% discount.
Yeah.
That's a nice way when people are gathering for food or something, or an occasion, they're talking to each other, finding out, something new has happened in their life. That, and I follow this habit. This is like a personal habit. Sometimes it's like it has its own positive and negative. I switch to a Nokia phone when my screen time goes too much. I can feel my eyes are straining. And when I know there's nothing important, nothing productive, there's no productive use of the phone today, I'll not be making any payments. I do not have meetings. I don't have to talk to anyone. I spoke with my parents yesterday. I'll just put the SIM in a Nokia phone, just listen to music, just calls and get done with your day. I feel like habits like that are rare, and when I do habits like these, I get my friends come to me, or people in the surroundings start giving me looks like, why are you doing this? This is a frowned upon practice. Why are you not addicted to your phones?
No, see,
So,
each and everybody's perspective towards digital world is entirely different. So I feel that everybody can, if they think, they can come up with some other solution. I've known that there is a village in Maharashtra. They have no screens. Everybody, elderly people, younger ones, TVs, all the screens should be off from 7 to 9. And after practicing this for a year, they have seen that there is a lot of communication which is happening among people. There's like a lot of learning, increase in the learning for these kids and all. So when a village can take a decision, a group of village where like 2,000 to 3,000 people staying together can, like semi-illiterate people can take a decision to be away from screens, why not us?
Definitely. I mean, I also feel like, see, this is where I think you're able to get over the FOMO easily, right?
Yeah.
When everybody around you is doing that, I think it gets easier. But when you are the only person, maybe you might have also felt FOMO at some point of time. I'm not sure. Did you feel that when you were doing this exercise?
initially, I had this form of it's like even when I go sit with my friends, all of them checking their phones, messages, WhatsApp. I'm like, wow, this doesn't have any WhatsApp. Like, never mind. But it was like initially 2-3 times, but the fifth time, the 10th time, I felt far more peaceful because they're listening to the noises of Instagram messages, and I'm listening to the noise of the birds chirping, or maybe a car going by, or the air hitting a building, and it just felt more peaceful. And then even my friend got a Nokia phone, and he was like, yeah, let's do this thing together, and like this is two of us following this habit for a while.
So
nice.
perhaps like what changed you is when you experienced that peace instead of like just someone telling you it's going to be peaceful.
Yes, yes.
That's so okay. Interesting.
But it's really hard because everywhere, not just like a non-productive sense, but even a productive sense, just because everything is happening on G Meets, people do not try to work between 9 to 5. They want to work even after the 5. The 9 to 5, they do time pass, they be inefficient. And it's just like the kind of workaholic environment everyone has created. And after 5 also, they want to take meetings at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. They want to take meetings. And even the institute, colleges also want to take quizzes all on your digital devices. No more on papers. So it gets really hard to execute that. But again, it's like we have to force ourselves into it.
Yeah. So in communication, we say something like, when you actually talk to a person on a screen or a phone, we are only communicating 10% of what we do.
Okay.
Yeah, when we are physically talking to them, there's a lot of emotion that goes, the body language, the thought process, the eye contact. This talks more of the communication. So I want all the kids to practice, if possible, come out and speak to people, rather than speaking on phones. So I always say that let us go back to your aunt, just bump into their home, go hug them, go your nanny, granny, hug them, and all these are the natural dopamine which kids should enjoy in the early phases, so that they can remember and come back to it.
Have you ever heard of a campaign where 20-30 people are just going for a run or a picnic without their phones? Like everyone just puts off their phone at their home or gives it off to some person, something like that. So what do you think of that if someone were to organize that?
Yeah, that will be cool.
Cool. Now I want to try that actually.
I was doing something similar, not away from phones, but away from home.
Okay.
So I was when my elder one was 5 to 6 years old. We had a group of 10 parents, and we used to take them around the city, to Tangban sometimes, to Goshala sometimes, to any rare park sometimes, and spend 3 hours, 7 to 10 in the morning, Sunday mornings. So everybody recollects it after 5 to 6 years also that that was really good. Somebody is actually planning for you, and you just going out and refreshed on a Sunday morning with your kids. Yeah.
Yeah, and I honestly would love to have family trips without any cell phones, because nowadays I feel even if we go to some place, it's more like everybody come together, this is the location, let's take a photograph, up it goes on Instagram so that everybody knows, up it goes onto the WhatsApp family group so that everybody knows. And I think it just takes away the time that you actually spend there. So again, there's been a huge shift wherein we are not able to imagine our lives without putting them online or putting them, again, dopamine hits, right? Because you want the likes, you want everybody to know, that you're doing great things. But in this conversation, I was always wondering, why is it that we require somebody else to be bringing up this rule? So, do you think, is there any way that we could intrinsically motivate ourselves and say, okay, I will put my phone on the side? Or do we need these new age, sort of businesses or ideas wherein you're saying, oh, we are going on a trip without our phones, or we lock it away? So,
See, the problem is like, we're not really open to take criticism these days. We're not liking to judge by the others. So, if you take back a decade or 2 decades back, if some elderly person saying, "Hey, you're looking so sad today," or some random comment, we're okay to take it. But these days, the younger kids are not able to take it. To add this particular thought process, I'm recently traveling a lot to places, and I'm using train as my mode of transport. So I've seen that in a bogie of 50 to 60 passengers, not even one or two are away from phones. In the entire journey of 12 to 13 hours, we don't even know the person next is sitting to you. They can, at the most, they can say that whether she's a female or male, but apart from that, we don't know anything. But I've seen at my parents' age time, they like once they have traveled in train and had a good memories, they used to become long-term friends. Like they used to carry that friendship for years together. But we don't have that strange friends happening. Talking to a stranger, they feel it is very not really required. But what's wrong in talking to a stranger and understanding? So in this thought process, I've written an email to IRCTC saying that why don't we have some books and crayons in each bogie, so that at least the kids will utilize them, and couple of books, a couple of elderly books and younger books, so that if somebody who is interested, they can go pick up. When they are able to offer a blanket and a bed sheet, why don't they put up a couple of newspapers and books, so that if somebody is want to just read or something, we can see. And if you know that couple of people are reading, you can automatically you can also pick up a big book and read.
Very interesting. So, do you think we need to implement like self-control mechanisms within ourselves, like in terms of like systems that X say like a Y time that I will not use my phone, or it's 6 hours, no more usage, or do we base or calculate that based on, okay, I've been productively using my phone for 5 hours, now I'm entitled for 2 hours of non-productivity, like that?
See, everybody needs entertainment, right? Some way you want some kind of break, because knowingly or unknowingly we are into a lot of burnout. So if you take doctors, they are into burnout. If you take C-level managers, they are into burnout. If you take people who are like traveling a lot, previously kids used to travel less than 10 to 15 minutes to school, right? Now I've seen that kids are traveling around 1 hour, 1.5 hours, and the moment they reach the school, they're like completely exhausted, and they say that we are like very much exhausted, and I really want to watch for some time, mama please give me. So why are screens your rescue for your burnout? So if you can think for yourself, a book, a art, a conversation, a coffee, if that can relieve from your burnout, then we don't think that we'll go back to binge browsing.
And I think that's also a very misnomer sort of thing, that you feel that this is going to relax me.
Yeah.
Like screens are going to relax me. I've heard that a lot of adults, a lot of students tell me the same thing. But what we tend to like discount is the fact that we're not actually relaxing. All our senses actually, without us knowing, are quite active. So especially, let's say you studied for an hour. I mean, that's an intense cognitive load on your head. And after that, if you go and binge watch something, you may feel like you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything, but all of your senses, your entire brain is still equally active. So for the brain, it's like 1 hour of study and 1 hour of more work. So it's not really relaxed per se. So relaxing happens when actually, let's say you stare out of the window for 5 minutes
And go for a walk or something.
Go for a walk, or do some sort of like light exercise, or just play around with your pet dog or something, or just fight with your sibling. Now those sort of things are actually, or any sort of meditative state per se, that is going to give you a deeper form of relaxation. as compared to just watching the screen. So I also think that that's again a misnomer wherein like relaxation के लिए screen चाहिए.
So what I do is like, whenever I feel that I need a very short break kind of, I used to drink a lot of tea. Like I say that I'm a double sip tea guy. It's like very short, but it's like I drink a lot of tea. Then I thought I should just stop it. And now these days what I do, I really want a break. I just go to a tap and just wash my feet under the tap and stay there for some time and come back.
It's nice.
I actually feel that I'm from Visakhapatnam originally. So once in a while, when we just take the time out to go to the beach and we feel the water
Perfect.
touching our palms, then we realize the phones, everything, like not just phones, but also like a recollection of emotions, recollection of feelings, like calibration of everything. Like what is the purpose? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why am I watching this on my phone? Why am I not doing that? Just hits like nature has that power to recalibrate your soul, but I don't think phones can ever do that.
And to add to it, after a long time, I was traveling on city bus. These like I just thought that I just want to board a bus and see. And the moment I board, I felt that I want to stand on that hoarding board and stand to the breeze. Last week I have done that, and I was like I was able to scream saying that I'm so happy and joyful to for the breeze. So those small moments, like our kids are missing. They are not enjoying those smallest of the small moments. So we want them to experience that. So if we really want to experience them, we have to take them into the nature at least every fortnight, if possible.
Absolutely. I mean, this also reminds me of a very ironical thing which happened. So, a few years ago, when we were studying and we were in the PhD, one of my friends used to have the habit of like reading things while putting on the white noise sort of thing. So, he would have like wind blowing or the water sounds and all that. And then one day, another friend got like fed up with him, and he's like, we all went out for camping, and he still wanted to do that. So my friend literally threw his headphones out, and he's like, come out there, like come to the stream, and you will see the water gurgling. Why don't you bring your laptop there, sit there in the stream, and you can hear the sounds of nature, and you will be able to. And he's like, no, you throw my headphone away. But I feel that's the sort of, the thing that we're doing. Like we're sort of blind to what is easily accessible to us. And we're running, after this technology and saying, ki, I want the same things. At the end of the day, we do want the same sounds. That is actually freely out there. All that we need to do is get up from our table and like walk out. So, yeah.
So what do you think, like people who are like matured, like at the age of 18, 24, where they can make decisions for themselves, they can see some things clearly, but are very very ignorant, are supposed to create, like are they supposed to like have apps that will not let you use this dopamine filled distractions, or like have a phone turned off, or have like a black and white mode where they can only use critical apps? What do you think is like a digital solution for a digital problem?
Okay, if you ask me, for 18 to 24, I feel that is a very very crucial age for them to stand on their feet. So if they can take anything, like it can be an app, it can be like your own schedule. One thing is like discipline for a digital world, and that doesn't have any rule book. It doesn't have a blueprint or that this works for him and this will not work for the other person. You just have to figure out that you take a couple of choices and figure out one app might work and one app doesn't work for you, your thought process. So pick one or the other things which can help you to reduce screen time. Practice it for some time, have a discipline for it, and surely once you enjoy coming out of it, you'll not go back again.
I feel like these apps can be a decent starting point to sort of de-addict yourself. But honestly, if you ask any addict per se, what really helps is if you rip the band-aid off, right? You need to rip it off for yourself. So it's not like it's going to be a simple, I want a simple, easy, nice process wherein I am evolving. I think very much what is required there is for you to be present and say, ki, okay, I'm going to take this decision because this is important to me, or it is going to get me where I want to. And it could be something as simple as, let's say you fix up a date on your phone, but when you go there with your date, like you are present in the moment. Okay, maybe you fix up a meeting, you decide to study something, but maybe you sit in a library with friends or sit outside, have a picnic, learn through there. So I think it's just a small tweaking in the way that you're doing things. It doesn't have to be something very drastic, and I don't really think you need a lot of gadgets and apps to take you away from this. They can be a starting point, definitely, but after that you are the one who needs to get the ball rolling further, right? So I think you being into it, you understanding that I'm doing this for my own self, for my betterment, I feel that is much more important than just having tech solutions for tech problems. I think somewhere that intrinsic motivation, or how you're understanding for yourself that this is not good for me, or that I want something better, or maybe like, as simple as I want to network with people, so I will look them up, I will contact them, but I'll go speak with them. So these sort of things, when you understand what is actually important, is you being human and being in the moment, much more than the digital FOMO that you're getting from the other apps. I think that is where the magic really happens, where things turn for yourself. So definitely tech solutions help, but you have to be in on it. So the question is, are you in on it?
And there are a good number of good percentage of people using smartwatches these days, and I think this is one of the good tech digital solution which had helped them to go out, walk for some time, do some sport, burn some calories. So if you ask me, smartwatch is one thing which has good digital solution which has help people, and apps like Calm for meditation. I don't know how to start with. People say that I want to meditate, but I don't know how to start with and how to practice. So there are like various apps which have come up. So I think these are the good digital solutions for our digital problems.
Very interesting. That's a useful piece of advice for me personally, because I'm currently juggling through a lot of them, distractions and productive, non-productive, and how to use them and not to use them, where to use a phone, where to not use. Especially in an age where obviously you have all the digital distractions, the dependence on the digital equipment and everything. But apart from that, there's a new age ahead of us where the growth of AI tools, the growth of online resources is growing exponentially, and with that our reliance and dependence, both like from an inner point of view and from an external point of view, we are motivated to use more of our phone, more of our laptops to build tech, to do research, to do complete courses, and the distractions do not go away. So anything else you feel that even like right now from the launch of ChatGPT, now we have so many types of AI tools, we have so many apps for meditation and everything. But do you think, are people using them in a good amount, or they're still in the premature stages, or they'll just stay absent in the noises?
See, whenever somebody comes up with some solution, like to actually help them out, they cannot handhold you till the point you can go there, and it's always a path given, and it's up to you to walk. We should be learned enough to take the right path.
I think personally what I'm looking at is Gen AI and all of these developments is, my concern is that more to how we are learning how to use them. So I think that is very important. So exactly like screens is what Gen AI is also doing to us. On one side, maybe there are people who believe that it's affecting our critical thinking, because we are increasing our dependence on these things. What a lot of students tend to do is, if I give you an assignment, I'll just put the questions to the chat GPT, I'll get a quick answer, and then I'm done. And then I can go play my game or do something else. But actually the idea with all of these tools is that it helps us brainstorm ideas, or like it helps us think in a clearer or better way, because we are just able to ask it questions and as like a partner in study.
Yeah.
So I feel that sort of discussions need to happen between the educators, between the students, that how are we intending to use this tool. It's a very powerful tool if you use it the right way. If you become like too dependent on it, and if you stop thinking for yourself, I think that's where the danger or the problem begins.
So to point out, one more important problem with the upcoming coming chat GPTs and other bots. I see that there's a handful of people who are using it, and there's a large bunch of people who don't have access to it. If you take to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, like less than only 7 to 8% are actually introduced to chat GPT, but there's rest of 90 to 93% people who doesn't have the access to. So when it comes to learning, there is actually with what do you say, with money, with education is what is happening these days. Like I have good amount of finances at my place. I can send my kid to a nice dance school, art school, music school, and there are like a lot of underprivileged students who cannot afford and learn them. And I feel that the AI is giving this there's a lot of bigger gap with AI. So government has to come up with some solutions where the education system involves AI. I see all the CBSE books having AI as a subject in them, but we should be able to take them into practice rather than giving them as a theory.
Interesting. So, what is your take on AI tools? And has your time on screen, either phone or laptop, has increased since the birth of those tools and your willingness to try out more tools, or it did not make much difference in your life?
I think it made, yeah, definitely, I'd agree. Like, because I've been trying out more of these AI tools, definitely my screen time has gone up. But on the contrary, when I'm using it to get my tasks done quickly, so that also gives me much more time, right? So in the initial days, I think when I was trying to learn and understand how ChatGPT could help me or like work on it better, that's initial phase I spent much more time on it. But gradually I think the time with it has decreased, because now it's clear to me what prompt do I need to give it, how do I get my things done. And if I'm really brainstorming something, sometimes I tend to write things down, brainstorm, run it by the GPT, get back the ideas, think about it again. So I sort of cycle through it. So that is one of the habits that I've made, that I don't stick only with one sort of method of thinking. So ChatGPT is helping me brainstorm, but I would switch to other people. Maybe I call somebody up, maybe write down my own ideas. So that's what I'm doing. So yes, it has changed the things, but again, I do understand as learners, when students or children start out using GPT, or even professionals for that matter, initially maybe a longer time, but once I guess you get the hang of it, it's going to be much faster. So yeah, there will be a change over there, and because now it's getting multimodal, maybe you don't need to spend a time on the screen per se. Maybe you can just give it instructions like you give it to Alexa, and then yeah, less screen time. Oh, sure.
So many of the parents come to me and ask that what is the right age to introduce ChatGPT. So I feel that the moment the kid understands that he can type, he can ask something, he should not be behind in asking. If your parent is not next to you, if your teacher is not next to you, he should be able to go and talk to somebody and get the answer. So in that sense, I feel that learning should be always at a fingertip for a student. So I think that 8 to 9 years of age is the right time. We can introduce them and ask them to help them to write the right questions and right prompting. Last year, when my younger one was 10 years old, she got an assignment from the school to write a poem on nature. And the moment she went, said that, "Mama, I want to use your ChatGPT for a couple of minutes." So she went there and she just typed that, "I want a poem about nature, and I am 10 years old in 5th class CBSE." The moment she wrote the extra prompts saying the context that she is in, and also she is from CBSE, she exactly the ChatGPT gave the exact poem to her age group, her understanding, and I myself couldn't recognize that it was not written by her.
Okay.
So and when I asked her, "Did you actually read it twice?" No, she did not read it. Only she read it once, and there are a couple of words she doesn't know in it. Did you actually go back to dictionary to read about the words? No. So you have to use it as a complementary learning tool rather than a creativity learning tool.
Absolutely.
So how do you decide between a moment where you want to save your time but also don't want to hinder your critical thinking skills? Has there been a time where you have been accounted with a simple task like writing an email, but you're on this thing of saving time and just revert to ChatGPT?
See, we can use. I don't say that I have to write a formal mail which actually includes a lot of thought process in legal, non-legal, and also put it proper frame. I just go to a bot and sorry ChatGPT and ask it to write it for me. But you have to actually help yourself to understand and validate. If you don't validate, your mistakes will be very costly. So you it's like a knife that either you can use it to chop your vegetables, or you can just unknowingly cut your finger, and so it's a very very sharp sword. We have to use it wisely.
Okay. And based on your experience, how often do you think parents use active parenting tools like with iPhones and other products? There are certain tools where you can limit certain libraries, certain searches, certain apps. Do you think the parents you have known who have been using this tool are having a much healthier family life? Like, is it, or is it?
Yes, absolutely. I've known a couple of parents who are mindful of digital screens at home. They have time limits. They know what they're browsing. They just go back to the history and check what they're actually browsing, and they discuss about screen time, ill effects with the kids, and also have a nice understanding of this is the right tool and you have to use this. So this will help to bring a child in a very healthy and happy environment. This is only happening with a handful of privileged families, but there are families who actually doesn't understand the ill effects. So I feel that some organizations or government should pinch in between, because I've been in Prague last year, and there I've noticed that New Zealand government has come up with a program called as Keep It Real Online. They have led a national level program which tells that what is real and what is real. So all the parents, youth and educators get an helpline. They can talk to the counselors online and get the information.
Okay.
It's always good to talk. Always good to be mindful as a family rather than as an individual.
Do you think sometimes the responsibility of a younger child to motivate their parents to ditch away from their screens? Because sometimes I've seen like in movies, and I myself felt like I'm not the one using the phone on the table, but it's my parents or someone relative using it. So how do you suggest like a younger child whose opinions are not validated, because just because you're young and small, so your opinion doesn't have a weight, but you want to like bring out this thing where you talk to people, you cook, and you not use your phone. Like, how do you suggest that from a parent point of view? Like, how would you, if you want your child to come and stop you from using your phone, take a work call, how would you want your child to behave?
See, it happens many times with me, because I am working with a couple of startups, and I am in a meeting, and my younger one says that please, enough mama, there's been a lot of meetings today, let me really talk to you. I feel that when you have a right eye contact when you talk to them, and say that when I'm actually done, I'm with you. You have to give that assurance to them. So you have to give that assurance, and you have to keep your promise. If you keep that promise, give assurance to them, the connection and bond will remain. If you don't have the eye contact and you don't keep up your word, you don't come back to them, there's a lot of communication gap which happens, and kids don't trust you for that.
Yes.
I have a very funny anecdote to tell you about it, that it's not kids in my home, it's my dog actually who sort of controls my screen time instead. I don't know how he figures it out, my dog, but somehow I guess maybe my body reactions is something are different when things are serious. So, or from my tone. So my dog actually is able to tell me that, okay, it's a serious conversation, or if you're just sitting there looking at videos. And he would always come and want to play with me or do something, engage with him when I'm on the phone, doing some videos or something. So I'm attending a very serious call. he would sit on the side and he would wait his turn out. So I think that is also like when I've slowly realized that fact, that as a pet parent, that okay, like my dog realizes it, and that's when I also should like put my phone on the side for my dog. I think that has been a huge amount of learning which I've gotten from my own pet who cannot speak. And I feel that it's the same, I'm sure, with children too. So if you have a small child is coming up to you who wants to really spend the time with you, I think in that moment you just need to think about whether what is higher in priority. I think somewhere we need to, as parents, also ruthlessly prioritize, and we cannot like leave it to somebody else coming from outside and saying, "Ki, this is more important." Sometimes you do get the signals, but you're not realizing that the signals are there. Perhaps, like Krupala, I know she allows her children to come and talk to them, at least inform her when they require her. I think just allowing your children into your space to just come and communicate, and then you can take a decision whether you want to have that conversation now or later. I think that's very important. Having that open communication, allowing your child to come in and disturb you, and that's okay, I feel. Why? Because it's okay, they are children and they wouldn't know what is more higher in priority. That's also something they will learn along the way. Because if you won't allow your children to come to you for smaller things, tomorrow when they're teenagers and there are bigger things at play or more serious things at play, they will not like look towards you, because they will remember the behavior that you set them to on the way. So I feel it's important for us as parents also to be like much more, like you said, much more mindful and have that constant flow of communication, then decide on the moment ki acha ye important hai ya nahi hai, or it can be done later. And I've beautifully seen even like my friends who are doctors actually do this with their children, to have that patience and to have that prioritization. And that's something I've learned from them. Like, so what I mean to say is even parents with very busy careers have been able to do that, like ruthlessly prioritize. So I think again, that's something we have to build along the way. And also in the Indian society, I also feel, because having lived abroad, that for yourself to have actively say that I'm going to have a work-life balance, because it's not going to be given to you on a platter anywhere. So that sort of thing, that okay, I want it, this is my priority, I'm going to work around it. I think that sort of thing needs to be brought into case. So I also feel that it's not just about gadgets and things on the outside, but my priority. So is this your priority? Are your children your priority? If they are, there will be time.
Interesting. So, are there any other habits you have come across of people in Prague or any other countries, like that has been very asymmetrical to what happens in India?
Yeah, I've seen parents in other countries are are very cautious when they give the screen time to kids, because the what do you say, after the Geo entered into Indian ecosystem, like a lot of free data that comes, like, and other countries we don't have that much, they cannot afford free data, like they might have to spend a couple of like dollars to actually get such a huge amount of
internet is expensive.
Yeah, internet is really expensive there. And they also understand that there's a lot of radiation that goes through the mobiles, and at early age we should only give them when it is actually important. And if they feel that there is a learning that happens through screens, we are only giving to them rather than entertainment now. But in India, I see after the Geo and after the excessive internet data that is being given to everybody, the masons are going to work and the kids at the small huts are just with the phones for a couple of hours, and they're just forgetting hunger also. Thirst
Yes.
and hunger. I have to remind many of the kids who come and play and watch for long. They just don't forget. They just really forget that they're thirsty also. We as mothers have to remember that. Remind them that please go and get some water for you.
What I've seen abroad is that they also take out a lot of time for family. So especially in Germany, I've seen a clear cut like work-life balance. And it's also imposed, like when you bring that culture into being and saying, okay, it's evening time, this is my family time, I'm going to go home. So when you have that as your culture as a society, or saying, oh, it's it's hot today, so I'm going to take my kids to the pool. So this sort of priorities wherein like, or you're go with a family, you're going for camping, you're going into hiking into the nature, or you're exploring things which are around you, right? If it's a warm day out there, I'm going to the nearby lake and I'm going to spend time over there. I think all these sort of things are very much required. Also, I think actively a lot of parents are much more aware about the rights, about privacy, especially with the GDPR in Europe. They're much more aware of what data is going online regarding their kids. They don't want to put out a lot of stuff. So again, when you come from a society or culture which is very much aware of your individual rights, very much aware about all these things which are happening around with the technology, I think overall that brings like society into a place wherein you're able to live in balance with the technology. But of course, even there they are seeing a lot of shift. A lot of developed countries now where you have a huger, bigger, younger population, there is definitely, they are also observing a lot of shifts when it comes to how technology is being used, or with the increased screen time and all of that. So of course, like how Japan reacts to the same thing is very different from how Europe is reacting to the entire thing. So I guess demographics also matter. And I guess with India being one of the, having the youngest demographic dividends, I think such conversations become like very, very important. Like how do you prioritize? What are you doing with your time? Are gadgets really important? How much time am I spending online? So that becomes important. And if work-life balance is something that we really want, it's not a question of how many number of hours we are working or not, but it's like what are we ready to do? Are we being productive in the limited amount of time? If you're able to do that, go. But then rest of the time, are we going to choose a screen? So is it just a choice of like, I want to have 4 hours on that office wala screen and rest 8 hours here? I don't also think that's work-life balance because life happens outside of the screen. So I guess that's also an important conversation for us to have.
So when Sushi has got the topic of privacy, I've been associated with an organization called as Women in Cybersecurity and Data Privacy. And it's an NGO from Bangalore. So we have been extensively working on literating kids in the cyberspace, helping them understand the password privacy, OTP privacy, and all this. And these days I feel that everybody are into Instagram and putting up their real life stories and real life stories. To just give a small example which happened a couple of years back in Bangalore, there was a family which mentioned saying that we are going out on a trip and this is our location from where we are going. From here we are starting to Bangalore, we'll be taking a 15 days drive, and the moment they came back, the entire flat is empty. We are actually opening your keys to somebody's home. See, content sharing should be very much important so that you get to learn from other people, but you should not share your private and information.
Overshare, yes.
Yeah.
Personal information.
Yeah, personal information, your travel, your family. Let's keep something to private for ourselves. And I feel so bad when a lot of kids are, doing the reels. I don't know, I might be wrong, but I feel that the moment you ask them to do a lot of screen, a lot of reels and all, they are not being natural by themselves.
Lot of fake content.
Yeah, no, the kids they themselves are not being natural when a lot of reels are done on them. They feel that I'm on screen, so I should be like behaving like this. So let them be natural. Like some natural event is happening at your home, you're just trying to put some narrative of content or something like entertainment, something of excitement, that is fine, but don't actually shoot them often, and make sure that they feel that they are like they want to be on screens. So there are a couple of cases where I felt that a kid after doing 100 reels and all, they are not being natural when they are talking, when they are actually communicating. They feel that they are still on reels on a screen or something.
I guess there's a blurring of lines between what is digital and what is like real, right? What is real and what is real life, and that's also scary to some extent, right? Like, where do you draw the border? Are you as a child, like you said, able to understand these concepts, and where are we heading overall with this entire thing? Because at some point of time we also might head up to a society where I'm like, I don't want interaction with other humans at all, and all I want is like a gadget. I don't think that's why you are like, there as a human being, right? I guess human beings also need human touch.
Yeah.
And perhaps the way I look at AI and all these gadgets is it's supposed to free up your time so that you can do more human things. But yeah, are we doing then more human things?
Yeah, so yesterday I was having a conversation with a 65 years old lady, and I was also saying that there's a lot of real life that is going into the ecosystems in everybody's life, and she was quoting some sloka which says that after like 50 or 60 years or so, there will be a situation where a human comes and touches the other human, and the moment he touches, he will just start crying.
Oh,
Oh, God.
very, very deep. That's
Very
very deep.
So imagine the state we are actually going into. I really feel that a hug actually makes a lot of difference. So a talk actually makes a lot of difference. A touch also actually makes a lot of difference. That is not going in the right direction with friends and families these days. So let us get those relationships back.
Yes.
For more than 2 decades and understanding the learning changes which is happening in the digital world and working with students for a long time. Recently I've started researching on the learning gaps that is happening in all the education thought process. We have, me and Sushi are coming up with a digital detox test that will help us understand the learning gaps with students. So I hope that we will be able to reach this test to almost 1 lakh students by end of 2025.
Amazing, ma'am. Really amazing. And it was a pleasure having you, man. I personally learned a lot of things from our conversation, and I'm going to reflect on this conversation with a lot of my friends, a lot of my colleagues on how they're interacting with their family, themselves, and also myself. So this has been great for my personal journey, and I hope a lot of viewers who are watching this thing, who have stayed till the last moment, will also implement a lot of advices and insights they have gotten from this conversation, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Yes,
having
yes.
us.